Hi, it's Sandy Wyllie. Welcome to my mental health channel, where I wipe away the stigma of mental illness by talking about my own struggles having borderline personality disorder. I talk about narcissism a lot. I talk about post-traumatic stress disorder, schizophrenia, bipolar, panic attacks, and a plethora of other topics around mental health. The only thing I do is I come on and tell you about my own personal experiences. I am not a licensed therapist. I do not hold a degree in psychology. So I can't give you my any professional or any diagnostic advice. Now, all I ask in return from you is to please be kind in the comments, be kind to me, be kind to other people, and be kind to yourself. If you like what you see, give it a thumbs up. And if you're new here, welcome to my channel. If you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button right there. It's 100% free. So today, after having several dreams over Dr. Richard Geist's Dick, he goes by the Dick because he's a Dick. They call him Dick. I realize I'm still in love with a narcissist. Okay? I'm still in love with him. I'm sure many of you have fallen in love with people that you're not supposed to fall in love with. People that are hurtful, mean to you. People that belong to other people. He's married. He's my psychologist. People that we're not meant to be with. People that... When I first met him in 2005, it was a year after my father had died. My father died a horrific death. My father was schizophrenic. He was in McLean's hospital. At the same time, when he was in McLean's hospital, his wife died. I'm the one who had to tell him, while he's in McLean's hospital, because he's delusional, because he's schizophrenic, I had to tell him, your wife died, and he really broke down. First time I saw him cry. And then 2 weeks later, he finds out he has terminal liver cancer. Can you imagine that? He's in the hospital because of his schizophrenia, because, you know, he's delusional. He's not taking his medication. While he's in the hospital for schizophrenia, his wife dies all of a sudden. Had no idea. She just collapses of heart failure. I had to tell him that when he goes home, his wife is not going to be there because she's dead, you know. So when they, he had to get a day pass to go to her funeral too, to go to my mother's funeral, because he was locked up in the mental ward. So they had to give him a pass to leave the hospital to attend his wife's funeral. And then 2 weeks later, he's in severe pain. He is rushed to the ER. They do tests 2 weeks later after this and tell him he only has months to live. He has terminal liver cancer. And I had to tell him that too. I had to tell him because he didn't believe the doctors. So the doctors told me, this is what's going on with your dad. He has cancer that spread to his liver, and he only has months to live. And I said, I'll tell him. So I told him his wife died, my bitch mother, who I hated. I told him that, you know, he has terminal liver cancer. He only has months to live. It was like, I'm the only child, so it all fell on me. And the kind of relationship I had with my dad, he left me and my mom alone with a very abusive, you know, mother who used to beat me and belittle me because, you know, he wasn't in his right mind. You know, my father was a very mentally sick man. So even though I loved him very much. And I thought, you know, and he did the best he could. It was still a very complicated relationship for me. and very scary when he used to go off in, in his rages. So after he died, I met Dr. Richard Geist, Dick, just a year later, and he was 22 years older than me. So I was looking for a father figure. I didn't have anyone, I had friends at the time, but not the kind of friends that I could lean on. I could never lean on anyone. People would lean on me. I couldn't lean on them. I did have a wonderful husband, but my husband's like 10 months older than me. My husband's like a brother to me. If any one of you seen my videos, like I'm not madly in love with him. I don't feel hot and heavy, and I never have. He's like marrying your bestie, marrying your brother or your best friend. So I never really, had those feelings. So I had no one, and then I walk in, and like it was love at first sight. Okay, he's 22 years older than me. He was just charming. He wanted to see me all these hours. I told him my insurance isn't going to cover, 5 hours a week for therapy. It only covers once a week. And he said, I don't want your money. Don't worry about the money. I was like blown away. And then he gave me his phone number, his cell phone, his house phone. Told me to come to Maine. And if you've watched the videos, you know all the rest. I've stripped totally naked for him. I mean, you know all the rest of the story. That was 2005. And I fell in love with him. I mean, the relationship was like a roller coaster. But the point is, he let me down profoundly. Over and over and over again. And in 2021, August 2021 is when I ghosted him, when he ignored my cries for help when my son was my handicapped son was badly beaten. You already know that story. You just watched the other videos. I don't want to go into that. The point of this video today is I'm still in love with him, even though I deleted him. I blocked him from all social medias. I blocked his email. I blocked his cell phone number. I blocked, deleted. I reported him to the licensing board. I haven't spoken, written, texted, anything with this man since August 2021. Today is March 31st, Easter. Happy Easter. Easter holds a lot of bad memories for me because Easter weekend my son was in a coma for pneumococcal meningitis. Easter weekend he was in a coma in the Children's Hospital in Boston. And no one came. Just me and Andrew were there. No one else was there. No one ever really... Okay, I'm going off on a tangent. I'm sorry. So... here is Dr. Richard Geist, Dick. When my other son had to have heart surgery. He had a very, very bad permanent heart condition. And he had to have heart surgery. I think he was only like 8 years old. And he went to the hospital. He took time off from work and went to the hospital. I mean... we went to the park together. I could call him up 2 o'clock in the morning on his vacation, and he'd say, Sandy, is that you? It's so good to hear your voice. I've been in his house. I mean, what I'm trying to say is I'm still madly in love with him. I wrote a book about him, Love Bombed by a Harvard Psychologist. That's all his emails in that book, Dr. Richard Geist, Love Bombed by a Harvard Psychologist. I'll leave all the links to my books below. So, even though it's over, and even though, it's been 2.5 years, no contact, 2.5 years, and still, I'm not over. When I sleep, usually I have severe insomnia. I have dreams about him. So I'm in a lot of pain, you know. I don't think you get over people just because a relationship is over. Okay, it doesn't matter. All those feelings, you can't wipe away a 16-year relationship. And, well, for me, it's been 2.5 years of no contact, but I cannot wipe away my feelings because he's no longer my life. I know a lot of people you feel like this. What about people whose parents have died or whose spouses died or someone like that? I mean, people just don't lose feelings for others just because they're not on earth anymore, just because they're dead, or in a lot of cases, just because you broke up with a person doesn't mean that you don't love the person. And just because, you know, people divorce, they get nasty divorces, you know, it's still over a year, and it's still the licensing board is still you know, is still going through all that red tape, and it's not over. In other words, there they haven't come to a conclusion what they want to do, you know, what's going to happen with that. But I'm still not over him. I'm still dreaming of him. Last night I dreamt that, you know, he was in severe pain and he's on the floor writhing away, clutching his stomach, and I run over to him and I say, Dick, are you all right? Are you all right? I also dreamt that he wasn't wearing his wedding band. You know, I had all these dreams about him last night. But that's not just last night. I dream about him quite often. And I'm not over him. You know, just because a relationship is over and just because it wasn't good for me and it turned me into an alcoholic, it doesn't mean that I'm over the relationship just because a relationship is over. See? And I'm sure that happens to a lot of you out there. Just because, you know, your relationship is over with someone doesn't mean that you're over the relationship. And I don't know how long. Like when they say time heals all wounds, I hate that saying. I really do. Because I don't believe time heals all wounds. For one thing, it's been 24 years since my son got meningitis and I'm still not over it. My husband is still not over it. 24 years. 20. That's almost a quarter of a century. You know, and we're still not over it. So time, I don't believe that time heals all wounds. I believe that we learn to live with the wounds. Not that time heals them, okay? I haven't found that to be true, and I'm almost 60. But what I found to be true is we learn to, what choice do we have? Either we live with it, or I don't like the alternative, or we don't. Get what I mean? So I'm choosing to live with the pain. You know, the time has not, you know, taken away the pain. I only, you know, I don't have a choice. You know, either you live with the pain or you don't live with the pain. Those are your options, okay? And not living, to me, is not an option. So what choice do I have? You know, it doesn't make me stronger. I hate when people say that. Oh, you're so strong. Look at all you've gone through. I'm not strong. What choice do I have? I told you I have two choices. Either to live with the pain or not live with the pain. Get what I'm saying? And I choose to live with it. Because it's, you know, I don't want the second choice. I'm a mother. I have 2 children, you know. And Alex is like a 2-year-old. He's permanently brain damaged. I mean, you know, he is, him and I are like this. We're really, you know, very tight. So it's hard. It's really, really hard. I'm not going to lie. I'm not over this. You know, I don't see me, this 2.5 years, I don't see me being over this anytime soon. I'll let you know if and when the day comes. I'll let you know. But no, I'm not over it. And so how do you get over, you know, a narcissistic person? So how do you get over a loss? How do you get over a relationship? Not all the time you do. You don't. You don't get over it. Like pain, you learn to live with the pain. Okay? How do I learn to live with how do I live with that pain? I just keep very busy, very busy. Here it's Easter, and I'm like cooking sweet potatoes in the oven. And I decided I wasn't going to do a video today. I said, it's Easter. I'm not doing a video. And here I am because I was sitting there wallowing in my despair. I said, you know what? I'm just going to do a video and talk about it and tell people that I'm in pain. I'm not over what happened. I'm not over the narcissistic relationship, the person who hurt me. You know, we had very deep times. And I'm sure, you know, if you've been involved with someone that was narcissistic or not narcissistic, that you had special moments with that person too. And what I love best about him is we used to lay down in the grass at the park, or lay down on his rug in his office and just like lay there and not say anything. You know you're really close to someone when you don't have to have words. That's a really close relationship. Because think about like relationships you know, if you're not talking with your friend or something, there's kind of this awkward silence and you kind of feel, you know, gee, oh, maybe I should go. It's getting late, you know, but when you can be with someone, right, and feel really intimate with them and not be doing anything and not be saying anything, that's real, true, deep intimacy. And feel very close, not feel awkward or like, you know, that's when you know you really love them, because you don't need words. Let me tell you what, when COVID hit, right, and everything was closed down. All the stores were closed down. People were supposed to be, you know, not leave their houses unless they had to get groceries. You couldn't go to the hairdresser. You couldn't get your nails, right? You couldn't leave your house unless you're just buying groceries or you were essential workers, right? Essential, like nurses, doctors, you know. Well, he shut us down, his office, and he only talked to people like this in Skype, you know, video camming them. He would not see them in person, even with masks. He closed his office so that he'd only talk to his patients on video cam. Well, I drove to his house. Now, you know, if you know me from all these videos, I hate driving. It's a 20-minute drive. 20 minutes from Boston to Newton, where he lives, Newton, okay? 20 minutes there and 20 minutes back is driving 40 minutes to see him behind a closed door. Now, this is COVID, the height of COVID, when people were dying, like dropping dead, you know, a body a minute or whatever the count was, I don't know. People were dropping dead. This is before the vaccines. This is before anything. Pandemic. I would drive 20 minutes down, 20 minutes back just to see him for a few minutes behind his workshop door. It was a glass, you know, I had a big glass window in the door, and I would just stand there. And this is after, 15 years of knowing him. This wasn't like someone I just had the hots for, you know, like an infatuation, someone you just met that you're really hot for. This was 15 years, okay? At this point, he was like 78 years old. He's 80 now. Yeah, this was 2.5 years ago. And I drive 40 minutes round trip just to sit there and look at him for a few minutes. It was only like 2, 3, maybe 4 minutes the most. That's it. That was it. I do all that driving. And I just looked at him behind a glass door. And then drive back home another 20 minutes. Drive 20 minutes, look at him. Hi. He'd wave hi. We'd be behind the door. It's like that boy in the glass bubble. You can't touch him or anything. It's COVID. He's an old man. There was no vaccines. You know, he wouldn't let me in, even with masked up and everything, or he wouldn't come outside. Nothing. He was behind the door. And it's like, so yeah. How do you get over someone? Sometimes you don't. You don't get over it. You never get over it. You learn to live with it. Because what other choice do you have? the second one isn't an option.